Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you so much for downloading or streaming the Be Our Guest podcast. Today, we've got a great show for you as we head over to the UK with listener Dave, and we talk about his amazing split stay where they hung out at Bay Lake Towers and the Beach Club Villas. His wife, his two daughters, and man, did they live their best lives during this almost 2-week vacation. And we sit down for just about an hour and talk about, well, Dave's first encounter with coming over to the States to visit Walt Disney World a long time ago, and how that really left an impression on him, and how he got back in 2016 to get kind of more of a taste of Walt Disney World. And he's actually gone to Disneyland as well, but how this trip really was super special, and kind of how planning is a huge essential part of a Disney vacation for him, his daughters, and his wife, but also letting the trip come to them. Going to places like Geyser Point, Narcoossee's, seeing the fireworks, Happily Ever After being super special, funnel cakes in Epcot, and just getting around and seeing the best of Walt Disney World while not letting the vacation consume you, but enjoying each other and enjoying Walt Disney World. Dave puts it in perspective. I think you're going to really enjoy today's show. Don't forget, today's podcast brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Disney adventure for no additional cost to you. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That really does help support the show. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you to our Patreon supporters. You guys keep us on the air, so thank you so very much to each and every one of you. You can support us as well. It's just $5 a month, and for that support, you get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest. Come over this week. We'd love to have you. Patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Welcome to episode 2627 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you and happy MLK Day here in the United States of America. Always a great day to reflect on coming together and always seeing the best in each and every person around you and realizing that we're better together. That's kind of how I always think about things. And, this is one of those days that I really do kind of miss teaching, where we always discussed, had the MLK speech there in Washington, D.C., and talked about MLK's dream that we could all rally together to make the world a better place. And I think today's a day to kind of stop and just think about that here, wherever you are in the world, because I think that's one of the great things about the Disney community is that we get to meet people from all around the world. I think I talked about this story last week on the podcast, and it was an epitome of kind of that when I got to sit down with a family from Japan while I was having my fish and chips in the UK on that beautiful Friday. I was sitting solo at the table. Bam, a mom, a grandma, and a little daughter sit down with me at the table, and we just all kind of rally together. So that's how the world should be, and let's hope that that's how it can be moving forward. So hope you're having a great MLK Day here in the States, and we're going to step outside of the United States today and head over to the UK with listener Dave. Dave, happy Monday. What's going on?
Great to be here, Mike. It's, big fan of the podcast, have been for the last couple of years. And it feels quite surreal to be talking to you directly. So thanks very much for having me on. It's a real treat to be here.
Well, let me tell you, you're staying up late. We appreciate our UK listeners who do stay up late to record these Monday podcasts. That's going the extra mile. So I appreciate you so very much. And just let me ask you, how are things going here in the new year over on your side of the Atlantic?
Yeah, good. Thanks very much. It's been pretty cold here for the last week or so, but seeing some of the pictures you've been posting, I don't think we've had a light dusting of snow over here, but nothing like you guys have seen. But no, things are good. Thanks. I think it's that start of the year. I love Christmas so much, so it's always a little bit of a kind of post-holiday blues, kind of easing into to the new year. But that said, whole exciting year ahead, and lots going on. So things are good. Thanks.
Yeah, we would get along really well because I'm a big Christmas guy, and if I didn't have Marathon Weekend to look forward to, like right after Christmas, I'd be in a funk. I'm with.
Well,
you.
I think I think there's probably a big crossover, isn't there, between Christmas fans and Disney fans? I guess. I think just finding the kind of joy and the magic in things. I sense that from the Discord recently. It's kind of there's clearly that kind of love of celebrating the holidays. It makes sense, I think.
I will say that. Let me just take a second to plug the Discord. So if you're not in the Discord, it's like a live chat / message board where you will find kindred spirits if you're listening to the show, big Disney fans. But we also just kind of rally together and talk about live, share pictures from the Disney destinations. We talk about where we're from in the world. BeOurGuestPodcast.com/Discord. No signups, no cost, no anything like that. It's just fun to hang out. But you're exactly right. I mean, I call it like the Cheers. It's like you just drop in anytime you want. I keep it open on my second screen here in the office all day, all night. And, who knows what we're going to be talking about? Somebody's got a question. Boom. It's like the live show, the Wednesday show, but it's 24/7, 365. There's always going to be an answer within a couple of hours. And you're right, though. I think Christmas fans kind of crazy sometimes with all the lights and the ornaments and all that. But I mean, Disney fans, we have like our outfits picked out, our meals picked out 2 months in advance. We know what shoes we're going to wear, special shoes for the theme parks. We all know that, it's parallel universes, definitely. So great point there. I mean, it's a thing. So let's get to know you a little bit like we do here on the Monday shows, because it's great to meet you here. But what's your background with Disney, and especially considering that you're over in the UK, but your wife has actually some connections here to the Midwest, actually St. Louis, I believe, too.
Yeah, this is right. So jumping straight into that, we're both from the UK, but through my father-in-law's job, my wife actually spent a few years growing up in the US when she was a kid. So spent a bit of time in Chicago, and then a bit of time in a certain St. Louis. Amazingly. So I haven't ever been. Would love to. Would love to visit sometime. I've not been to Chicago either, and I'd love to sort of come and see. These places that my wife spent some time. But my connection with Disney, it really kicked off for me. I was lucky enough to come over to Walt Disney World on a family holiday back in the mid '80s. And it was like, an amazing trip, full stop. It was the first time as a family we'd been on an aeroplane, and we came all the way to Florida from the UK. We had a week in Orlando and a week in St. Petersburg on the coast. And the whole trip sort of blew my mind, as a kid from the UK, the kind of the weather, the highways, the food, just, everything about it. But in amongst that, Disney was just by far and away a kind of a highlight. Well, Kennedy Space Center was a close second. That was kind of pretty mind blowing to a kid as well. Big space fan. And that was amazing. But the whole, at that time it was the Magic Kingdom, and Epcot Center was just a few years younger at that point. And so it's those two parks. We were staying on International Drive and kind of did the whole, day trips into the parks. And it was just like nothing I'd sort of seen back home. I loved I think like you talk about sort of Six Flags growing up as your kind of, your theme park, and we had something similar, Alton Tower. Well, I don't know whether it's similar, but it was my equivalent, Alton Towers in the UK. And I loved it. It was one of my favorite days out back home. But just the minute we arrived at the Magic Kingdom, it was just like something else. And even I was thinking about this ahead of talking to you, and I was thinking you don't necessarily recognize as a kid those moments that are really going to sort of make a mark on you and really stick with you. And like you, I'm a massive sports fan, and you don't know that kind of first day that you walk into your team stadium that's going to be, something that is with you for the rest of your life and take you on this amazing kind of journey. And I think with hindsight, looking back, there was something about that kind of Disney experience that influenced me in a lot of ways. It took me a long time to get back, sort of fast forwarding. So you mentioned my wife spent a few years living in the US at similar time. So in parallel, she went on a family holiday herself to Walt Disney World a couple of years sort of before me. We worked out. So fast forward to when we got together and got married and were starting a family. It was definitely a kind of a conversation that one day we sort of dreamed of taking our own kids kind of back to Walt Disney World one day. And then so it was 2016 our trip. It was intended to be a once in a lifetime trip. Our girls were sort of 9 and 4 at the time. I'm sure you've heard this before.
Everybody says that it always starts. It's a once in a lifetime thing. One time, it's also like, I do one to run Disney race. We'll go to Walt Disney World one time. Everybody's got to check it off the list one time. And it's like Yeah, okay, we're talking about my 39th trip to the Magic Kingdom. And I'm talking to somebody that's got the wall full of medals behind them. Yeah, that was a one race. Yeah, okay, whatever.
Exactly that. So yeah, our once in a lifetime trip. Yeah, we've since been back to Walt Disney World 4 times. We've done Disneyland in California, and
And you're in the
booked to go
UK.
to.
You're not like in Nevada or like in
No,
Georgia.
I mean, yeah, that Disneyland trip. Yeah, it's part of a road trip in California. That's a whole different story for another time. But that was incredible. And then, funnily enough, we're actually booked to go to Disneyland Paris for the first time.
That's why
just before Christmas
I
this
saw
year.
that.
Which
I
is
saw that. I saw that. I'm like, what's wrong with this picture? You've been to Disneyland. You've been to Walt Disney.
Yeah.
Not Disneyland Paris, and you're in the UK. I was like, something's wrong with this picture, but I like the way you think.
yeah. And I think, we'll go into. I think it's part of Walt Disney World that we absolutely love is just the scale and the size and the resorts and everything. So that's a huge part of it for us. I think we've worried that we might be underwhelmed by Disneyland Paris, but we're super excited about the trip we've got lined up, and it's the first time we'll have been in the Disney park during the holiday season. So that's going to be amazing. But yeah, that's a little bit of a brief backstory. It's I think for me, it's really about the resorts and the parks and that kind of the whole Disney bubble and the scale of it. Certainly, just the attention to detail and that kind of I've not been anywhere else like it. And when you find that sort of that joy and magic in something, especially kind of going back as a family and taking our girls, when you have that shared enjoyment of something as a family, it's a pretty amazing thing, isn't it? And you kind of get hooked.
It is. And I want to ask you this real quick, and then I want to dive into this trip because I want to make sure we cover all this. I want to hear about your wife and your girls and all the experiences you had, because you had some amazing experiences. But when you went that first time to Walt Disney World, because I had a very similar experience when I went for the very first time. We only went to the Magic Kingdom for like a half a day, maybe. I was in 5th grade. Yeah. We were just kind of passing through as we were driving from. We were taking some dogs for my dad's buddy who pitched for the Philadelphia Phillies up to Philadelphia after spring training. And we stopped at the Magic Kingdom because, it's kind of the thing to do. And it rained that day. But I just, like, core memory, right? I know we did rides. But the thing that sticks in my mind was we went into a hat shop at the Magic Kingdom. And I just remember that, like, inside the hat shop, like, there were vines and trees. Like, it wasn't just a store. Like, the whole store on the inside was so themed. And they had so many different hats. But I think the hat shop was in Fantasyland. It wasn't, like, the chateau right as you come in on the right. And that sticks with me because, like, at Six Flags, it would have just been like a store, like where I grew up and went to the amusement park, and you'd had a store with hats, but it was like Jack and the Beanstalk or something in there. It was like the whole store had like a story going on, but there were hats throughout it and, souvenirs and so forth. And it was night and there were cool lights in there. And it almost seemed like you were like part of like a 3-dimensional storybook with merchandise around you. And that's like, it still sticks with me to this day. Do you have anything like that from when you were a kid that like you that still to this day, like you wish you could go back to that, like that moment in time?
Oh, definitely. And I think, your point about comparing it to other places, I think other theme parks, there were great rides that I really enjoyed, but the sort of the getting between was just kind of walking through a park. Whereas I think the thing that struck me, even as a kid arriving at Walt Disney World, was just before you've even got in the park, the kind of level of detail and how immersive the whole thing and the storytelling, and you kind of, you just look around and nothing spoils the kind of these magical surroundings. But I think a couple of things looking back that stick in my mind. One was definitely Main Street. We'd been in the park all day, fireworks were about to start, and my dad comes back and a hot dog for everyone, and that all-American snack for us. And it was kind of like, you don't know what to expect then as a fireworks, and these fireworks just kind of blow your mind, and Tinkerbell comes down and actually surprises you for the first time you've ever seen it. And it's just everything about that evening, and I think that moment. And I think really interestingly, it's not necessarily rides that stick in my head, it's a kind of a sense of that place. And the other one for me was we must have got the monorail either back to the parking lot or between the parks, but traveling on the monorail through the Contemporary Hotel, I just couldn't. I'd never seen anything like it. I'm traveling on a monorail.
As a 50-year-old adult, it's still it's a thrill. I mean,
it's still one of my favorite things. But I vividly remember sort of traveling through and looking down into that atrium and seeing people. eating breakfast in this incredible hotel, and I'm thinking people get to stay here and have breakfast in this, and they've got a monorail going past them. It was just, it was so beyond anything that I'd ever seen at that stage. That really sticks with me. Yeah.
It is 2025 in the monorail going through the Contemporary. It's like a silent snake, like just like slithering through. It still is just, I mean, I'm sorry. I know that thing's been going since 1971. I don't care. Like that stuff is still amazing to me. I know some people probably don't give it a second thought, and I hate that for people. If people have gotten to the point where a monorail, in people that don't realize the size of the Contemporary, like I think I was talking to Ben. I went down to in December. We were down for that preview of the Treasure, and we had a 1 day park hopper, so we did 3 days or 3 parks in that 1 day before the cruise.
Amazing.
And we were going to the Magic Kingdom, and I said, God, look at that tree out in front of the Contemporary. I said, do you realize how big that Christmas tree probably is? Because the thing is, it's out there kind of in front of the Contemporary out by the road, but it doesn't look that big. But the deal is the Contemporary is enormous, and it's set like perspective wise. That thing is probably 80 feet tall. Like that tree. Anyway, I just guess, again, over under show, right? 90% of the people probably don't even give these kind of things a thought. They just probably get on that bus and they're like, okay, what time do I get on Space Mountain? But like, I hope there's a lot, and I think our audience tends to skew more this way, but I hope that when you're on that bus and you're riding around, you're like, darn, that Contemporary is just, that thing is huge.
This is it. I think it's pretty clear that there's enough of us that do kind of care about this detail and love it and appreciate it. And since we've been going, I've become a bit of a sucker for Walt Disney history and reading sort of biographies and stories about the kind of birth of the parks and just the kind of construction of that A-frame of the Contemporary and kind of how innovative it was at the time, and US Steel kind of with those kind of slotting in the rooms and everything. So that's my role as a dad on our trips normally, is to kind of start boring the girls with all the details. And so you'll never guess how that was built, and the eye rolls and the groans from the girls as we're kind of passing by. So that's that's definitely my role on a Disney trip.
Yes, power to the dads. That's what we do. Did you know, Dad? Yes. Okay, I'm hitting you with a double dose right now.
I hear that plenty.
Since you gave me the dad, I'm giving you 2 facts right now. Here we go. All right, so let's jump into your trip. This is awesome. I could talk about this stuff for like 7 hours, but we can't do a show that long. So the trip we're going to talk about, I know you did a split. You did a split at Bay Lake Tower and Beach Club Villas because you wanted to check out some larger accommodations, those DVC accommodations, because you just want to spread out. So how long were you there, and when were you there, and kind of how did this trip come together? When did you decide to put it together?
Sure. So I think I find this when you talk to other people from the UK, clearly that bit further to travel, we come less often, but when we come for a longer time, right? So for us, it's normally, around a fortnight. So on this trip, we were lucky enough to have 4 nights at Bay Lake Tower and then 8 nights at Beach Club Villas. And while I'm sometimes envious of how regularly you guys can nip down for the odd long weekend, I think the luxury that we have of these extended trips is we can really just kind of take our time and just, no rushing, although we do pack lots in, don't get me wrong. We're kind of, we're rope dropping and we're still kind of likely to be doing the fireworks, but in the middle, we'll have a bit of downtime and pool time. So I think, this was a real treat. Our favorite resort to date is the Beach Club. We absolutely love it. And we've always stayed in the hotel rooms there, but we've always been really tempted by DVC, and so this was our first time trying it out, testing that what you get with that accommodation, with one eye on potentially kind of kind of going down that route further down the line, and I think on that front the accommodation was amazing. We kind of, our daughters on this trip were 17 and 12, so you kind of we're a family that's growing up, and I know you well know with teenage daughters, Mike. I tell you what, the extra bathroom in Bay Lake Tower was a godsend. It made a massive difference. So you actually got to use the restroom, but didn't have to go down to the public restroom.
Yeah, like down the lobby. Trust me, on the cruise ships, I've had to take showers in the rainforest room.
So no, it was amazing, and I think for me personally, I've sort of mentioned about the just that monorail moment that I remember as a kid, and I've always dreamed of staying in a monorail resort one day. So to sort of stay in Bay Lake Tower and have that short walk to the Magic Kingdom, that was just an absolute real special moment for me personally. That was amazing. So yeah, we started off with 4 days there and then moved to Beach Club Villas.
So did you? And I'm sure you did. I mean, I'm talking. I don't know why I'm asking this question because we are so. This is so fun. This is why I love the Disney community, right? Because like we've literally just met on this call, but I feel like we've known each other already because we're girl dads, we're Disney guys. Like we just like we should be sitting at Casey's and I should be buying you a chili dog. I mean, because it sounds like that's your jam. I mean, come on now. We should be watching fireworks and eating a chili dog.
So this was it. First day. I mean, our journey out there was an absolute dream. So we don't even need to get up early here, get to the airport in the UK. It's kind of 8-9 hour transatlantic flight, but all went like clockwork. Kind of got out the terminal in no time at MCO, jumped in an Uber. We literally checked in on the dot at 4 o'clock, room ready at Bay Lake Tower. So we've woken up in the UK, had a lovely flight out. And we were quick turnaround in Bay Lake Tower, and I checked with the photos ahead of this call. We were inside Magic Kingdom at 5:30 in the afternoon. So we've just like this complete transformation, leaving the UK behind, and we're in a happy place. And talking of hot dogs and Casey's Corner, we straight to the People Mover first ride of the day on this trip. But then we took in a couple more attractions, but it was just about the being there. And then we grabbed hot dogs, and you've got that table, you're looking at the castle, and we're probably just running on adrenaline at this point, because it's probably for us it's 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning or something, but you're hardly going to feel tired when you've just arrived in the Magic Kingdom for the first time.
We won't tell Scott that your room was ready and you came all the way from the UK. No. He will be fired up because his room is never ready, like until 9 o'clock at night.
I hear his regular complaints, and I feel for him.
I think he's tuned in.
We weren't so lucky when we got to Beach Club Villas, actually, but with Bay Lake Tower, we were super lucky.
I think he may be watching right now, and he'll be like, "Dang, they came all the way from London, and his room was ready, and I can't ever catch a break on my room being ready. I'm changing clothes in the parking lot at Fort Wilderness to get ready." Because I'm going to a party that night. No, that's funny. But I mean, so when you were at Bay Lake Tower, though, did you make a focus of like Magic Kingdom days, kind of Magic Kingdom Epcot, and then? But I mean, you're going over to Beach Club Villas, so then you had Epcot Studio. But you had so much time, it didn't matter.
This is it, because we had the luxury of that kind of the time at an Epcot resort, and being able to walk into International Gateway and round to Hollywood Studios. We really decided to focus on Magic Kingdom, and we in those first few days we headed over to Animal Kingdom, Disney Springs, but we were saving Epcot and Hollywood Studios for later in the trip. And I think, like you talk about always going to Magic Kingdom first. For us, if we're traveling that far, and it's always kind of a couple of years between trips, and just arriving, and whether it's the first time we've done it on the first day, it's normally the sort of first full morning, but it's got to be Magic Kingdom first. But what we really decided to do this time was taking the fireworks from the resorts all around the monorail, because we had the luxury of 4 nights there and knew that we had the rest of the stay, and we hadn't had the chance to do this before. So on our first night, we watched the fireworks from the viewing deck at the Contemporary on the 4th floor.
That's awesome.
Which was amazing.
That is awesome.
It was fantastic. We got the monorail coming over you and the music being piped in, and we're on our last legs at this point. I mean, we just about managed to get through the fireworks, and then we could kind of just stumble back to our room and collapse. And then jumping ahead, we then planned to do the second night watching them from the beach at the Poly, and that was incredible, which I'll come back to in a minute. We then did the third night. We had a reservation at Narcoossee's, so we were able to watch the fireworks from there. And then our last night in Bay Lake Tower, we're inside the park, right in front of the castle, taking them in there. So that was very much a focus of really embracing this monorail resort stay, and really kind of squeezing the value out of that. The fireworks from the beach at the Poly for me was a real highlight of the trip. I absolutely loved that. I think we all love the fireworks as a family, find it so kind of exciting and emotional, and it's just a wonderful thing. But there was something about how relaxed it was, frankly. We didn't have to get there early and stand in a crowd and kind of have that mission. We would it was so leisurely. and you're in this lovely environment. And you know, yeah, you don't get the projections on the castle, but you've still got the music. The girls are sitting down on the beach. They've got a cookie. Me and my wife, now we've got a cocktail, and it's just, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, does it?
Okay,
So that was a real.
stop, because this sounds way too good right now, and it's freezing outside here. I need to be back. Right now. I need to. Everybody listening, like, I need to be back on the Polynesian beach right now, like a Dole Whip or something, or drink. Yeah, exactly. And you're doing it right.
So
or, right outside California Grill. Oh man, killing it.
Yeah, no, that was brilliant. And that first day, actually, I mean, I think this is where we feel really sort of lucky to have the amount of time we have when we come over for the sort of length of stay that we do. You know, that first day, the walk actually from Bay Lake Tower to Magic Kingdom. So we have a thing in the family that my favorite walk in the world is out of the beach club through International Gateway into Epcot. That just, you step out on a, you know, Florida morning or an evening, and that view over to the boardwalk, and you're walking around, and obviously have to tell the girls that, you know, you've got a road going underneath there and you don't even realize it, and you've got water going over that road, and they love it. They roll in their eyes again. Yeah, exactly. So we have this thing that's my favorite walk in the world, from the beach club to International Gateway. And Bay Lake Tower to Magic Kingdom very quickly became my second favorite walk in the world. You know, a little bit more traffic and, you know, car parks to kind of get in the way, but what an absolute kind of privilege to wake up, walk out of your room, and be literally 5 minutes from the Magic Kingdom. That was absolutely amazing. And then I think one of the things traveling west from the UK, the sort of natural early starts that you have because of the time difference, it's like a superpower, right? You're waking up at kind of like 5-6 a.m. anyway. I'm over with my resort mug, getting my coffee from the Contempo Cafe, and I'm ready to go. And we're ahead of the game. So it's an absolute dream to get those first few days to get round for rope drop. And the excitement levels are kind of through the roof at that point. So we get in, we're doing the Mine Train, Peter Pan, all our favorites, the classics. Mid-morning, grab a coffee on Main Street, and, you know, we've already done loads of attractions by that point. You know what it's like. You get so much done with those early starts. But then this is a great bit for me. We love sort of doing some of our favorite things and then mixing it up and always checking out things that we haven't done before. So I'd heard such good things about Geyser Point at Wilderness Lodge, and we hadn't sort of been there before. And so sort of late morning, we head out the park, jump on the boat over to Wilderness Lodge, and for me, those sort of moments are the moments that just really make the trip. And I think it's difficult to describe to people who think that you're just going to a theme park on holiday, kind of how special those moments are. And you sort of got an amazing cast member kind of skippering that boat, making you feel so welcome. The sun shining, you know, having left the, you know, kind of cool UK behind, you've got the Grand Floridian behind you, with, you know, kind of going past a Contemporary where we're staying at Bay Lake Tower, making our way to Wilderness Lodge. It's just that I think those are we've had an amazing morning, and it wouldn't be the same if it wasn't for those parks being a part of it. But it's those moments where you just look around, and with my family, everybody's just having a great day, and that for me is the sort of essence of it. Those are the bits that just take it to the next level. 100%.
And two points there. One is that the length of stay makes that very much more relaxing, because, you know, like you're not on a time crunch because you have to get somewhere. You know, you can slow down, get to Geyser Point, and enjoy the journey. But also, that's the difference between Walt Disney World and Disneyland. Right there is, you know, Disneyland is, we know here on the show, I've just started going in 22 to Disneyland. I love it. It is so cool. It's just, nostalgia is just so thick, and so many great attractions, and just so different than Walt Disney World, but so the same too. But the thing that is different is the transportation system, is the scope of Walt Disney World. You know, to take a boat right outside the Magic Kingdom and just cruise on over on a beautiful sunny, you know, Florida day,
it's,
you know, with your
special.
It's amazing, because it's just gorgeous. Like, you don't get that at Disneyland. You know, that's one of the things that is missing, and it makes Walt Disney World unique and special.
And I'm with you. Funnily enough, we did our first Disneyland trip in 22 as well. And because by this point I'd read so much and invested so much in Walt and his story, I think the nostalgia and the magic of these being the original park and some original attractions I found incredible, and I absolutely love it. But they are different. You know, I think some people would headlong and think, you know, the kind of main parks are similar, but they are very different in terms of the experience that you can have there. And I think, you know, continuing that round to Geyser Point, you know, you're 5-10 minute boat ride away. And I've heard it said on here before, but you know, you don't feel that you're so close to an amazingly busy theme park. You know, it's such
you're
a
like
beautiful.
out there all of a sudden. It's magic. I mean, literally,
Yeah.
Wilderness Lodge feels like it's 10 miles from the Magic Kingdom, and it's probably, I don't know, a mile as the crow flies.
Yeah, exactly. And you're looking out over that lake, and the service we had at Geyser Point, it was just so good. And I think this is one of the things that wowed me the first time we came to Walt Disney World, was just, you know, the cast members consistently on the scale from resort to resort, from park to park. It's just mind blowing to me. I've not seen that anywhere else to be that consistently brilliant at what they do and making your experience so special. Just little details, you know, they kind of found us a great table even though we didn't have a reservation, and looking after us. And then my wife and youngest daughter wanted to share the bison burger, which they absolutely loved, by the way. I know I hear good things about it. So I don't eat meat. I'm a pescatarian. I eat fish and shellfish, but I don't eat meat. But my wife and daughter wanted to try this bison burger, and they explained they wanted to share it. And without even a question, it comes along on 2 plates, you know, kind of cut in half. And it's just little touches like that where they make you feel so welcome, and nothing's too much trouble. And I remember sitting there, you know, it's our first day and it's just so relaxing. We've already had an amazing morning. We've got an amazing rest of the day ahead of us. And again, it's one of those moments that I think people don't necessarily realize is part of this, amazing Disney experience. If you haven't been there, if you haven't explored, if you don't kind of check places out, you don't realize how many different experiences there are there to have. And that's what we absolutely love about it.
No, I agree. I mean, in Geyser Point on a beautiful Florida day, if you're from anywhere where the climate is like it is right now, we're London or St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm looking out at a foot of snow outside my window. Geyser Point sounded pretty sweet right about now today. So I'm just saying, if you can be sitting there with a bison burger and some fries or whatever. So I had chickpeas there one day. I didn't even know what chickpeas were, but I'd take them right now at Geyser Point.
I can't remember exactly what I had, but I think I had sort of a shrimp salad or something. And again, it was absolutely brilliant. It was just fantastic food, you know, and it's kind of, I think people's perception sometimes is that it's just, there's amazing fast food and that's fantastic in the right moment. The hot dog the night before couldn't have been better, but and the plant-based hot dogs, by the way, at Casey's Corner, fantastic. So my wife and my youngest daughter eat meat, but myself and my eldest daughter don't eat meat, and the fact that we can all get something at Casey's Corner,
that is cool, because
it's amazing.
I'm the all beef guy, but I mean, I'm glad to hear
good,
because I would never know. That's awesome. That's great to share, because it's
fantastic. I really recommend them. They're fantastic. So this day, funny story. Then we then carried on another beautiful boat ride back to the Contemporary. And the island there, did it used to be called Discovery Island?
Yeah, they had the animals out there. Now it's you pay me $1 million to spend the night on that, and I don't think I'd take you up on that. Somebody did during COVID, and he got arrested. Yeah,
really?
Yeah,
right?
Apparently he's like snorkeled out there or something. I don't know. It was wild. It was a thing. Who knows?
So we're cruising past on the boat, and I'm kind of regaling some more of my dad facts to the girls to explaining that kind of when Magic Kingdom first opened, that this was actually, you know, extension of the resort, and you could get a boat over here and there was wildlife and you could explore and so on. I'd read all about it. Anyway, fast forward a few weeks, we get home, and my wife's parents dig out their old photo album of their trip in the 80s. And, you know, my wife, Nat, was listening to me saying, oh, you know, that's interesting. I've never heard anything about that. We get this old family album out and we're flicking through. Lo and behold, there's pictures of Nat and her mum and dad and sister on Discovery Island.
No way, dude, that is awesome. Yeah, that is great.
They'd been there, yeah. I'm the nerd that's been reading about it and kind of hearing all about
on
it.
The island. Oh,
yeah.
And Uncle Bob still may be lost on the island. Maybe he's still camping out on the corner somewhere.
So this is still first day. We then get back, and again, you made the point about the sort of luxury of having an extended stay and having the time to be relaxed. But we have some time around the pool at the Contemporary, which again, for me, just this, you know, swimming around in the pool. Daughter's having an amazing time, but for me, just looking up and thinking about kind of that history and kind of where we are. Absolutely love that. And then jump on the monorail. Our plan is to head round, as I said earlier, to the Poly for the evening. And one of the few disappointments of the trip is we tried to get into Trader Sam's, but we got our timing all wrong. And because of the 8 o'clock cut off for kids, we left it too late to get our name down. But then this resulted in us discovering the lounge there. I'm just kind of trying to remember the Tambu Lounge in Polly. Yeah.
Yep.
So we're there again, no reservation, but we just kind of, find a table there, and that was fantastic, amazing. You're right there in the lobby. You've got all the atmosphere of the Poly, fantastic drinks. My youngest daughter spotted another kid having a kind of a mocktail out of a whole pineapple that they do. So, we kind of got one of those. She's sitting there thinking this is fantastic. And I think you can order some of the dishes from Ahana to just kind of pick and choose. And that was fantastic. And then that was the evening where we ended up at the beach for the fireworks, and you think this is just day one, and we've kind of we've done all that. It's just incredible.
So we only have like 25 minutes left. We're on day one.
I know, sorry, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it day by day. Don't worry.
Calculations. I want to get all this in, but so let's hop over to Beach Club Villas for a second, because once you guys moved over there, was there? I mean, it's kind of hard to compare accommodations, but did you feel like, were you missing being back at Bay Lake Tower because of, there is a magic to being on the monorail loop, right? Because you're right there. You're also in proximity to Epcot. You got all that great dining. You got Crescent Lake. You can walk to the studios now. It's different, but it's probably not better or worse, right?
Yeah, that's it. I love the variety, and we absolutely loved being on a monorail resort. But for Nat and the girls, their happy place is the Beach Club. It was the first Disney resort we stayed at. Every trip since we've stayed there, at least part of the trip. I don't think we'd be allowed to go without part of the trip, or the majority of the trip being at the Beach Club. They absolutely love it, and I love it. We love the theming. We love the location is just incredible, right? Being able to walk to two parks, and then the Skyliner. That's kind of first 100%. Ride of the day. That's just we absolutely love everything about it. So we feel like we're at home when we get back to the Beach Club. I was listening to you a week or two ago, and a few of you guys were saying you prefer the yacht club to the Beach Club, and I kind of can completely get that. But for us, we are absolutely a Beach Club family, and it's funny because it's not not a huge amount of difference.
It's an aesthetic thing. Honestly, I think it's colors.
Completely,
really, it's all it is.
Yeah, and you're a fraction closer to International Gateway, so that'll do for me. And
you are. Trust me, I saw it a lot this weekend.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I saw that in the Beach Club. I'll tell you that. Yeah.
So no, the Beach Club is absolutely amazing. And in terms of accommodation, so the difference is that Bay Lake Tower was due a refit, I believe, when we were there. So it was kind of more at the tired end of the kind of interiors, whereas the Beach Club had just had refurb in the villas. So the feel of them was amazing. I think my only observation would be the layout of Bay Lake Tower. Having that second bathroom made a massive difference for us. And I think, considering the kind of footprint, considering the scale of the we had a 1-bedroom villa at each, and considering how much space there is to play with, it seemed bizarre to me that they hadn't made a separate sort of a second shower room in those spaces, because I think realistically, they're set out like 2 bedrooms by the time you've got the kind of the bed down in the sort of living room area. So yeah, for us, it was still amazing. We absolutely loved it. It was such a kind of an amazing luxury, having loved the Beach Club on a number of stays. To be staying in one of those villas was absolutely incredible. But the real icing on the cake would be if you just had an extra bathroom in there, I think. But that's being picky.
No, but I think, those were built long time ago, and now they're thinking more efficiency. Exactly. Like when they're building these units, like when they built Bay Lake Tower, people really appreciate an extra bathroom. And so now I think moving forward, all these things will be kind of that.
I'd be amazed if that isn't part of what they do with new builds.
Girl dads need to go to the bathroom too. Come on now. We need to get in there. We're never getting in. So it's exactly what the thing. So let me ask you this too. So just real briefly, but your girls, you said 17 to 12, right? 17.
Yes.
So how much input do they have as far as the overall planning, or do they just kind of go with the flow because you're super dad, but do they kind of drive the plans, or how's this go?
No, It's a very good question. And funnily enough, one of the questions we get asked in recent years is Gracie, our eldest, that people are kind of like, and does she still like going?
Yeah,
You know,
and
and it kind
that's
of, because I
a
think
fair question because Mallory, it's she's a high school cheerleader. She's got 100 other things going on, but she's a Disney fan too.
massively. And I think this is it. I think certainly in the UK, the perception is often that it's kind of for young families and young kids. And I remember us rocking up the first time and looking around and thinking, oh, hang on a second, it's anyone and everyone, and that's kind of part of what's amazing about it. And you see multi-generational trips, and you see honeymooners, and you see retired couples, and you see the kind of proud granddad with the whole kind of clan sort of behind them. And I think the truth is, both of our girls, there's not a holiday in the world that they would prefer to do than a Disney trip. They absolutely love it, and it's not about the kind of back in the day, it was about the princesses and the rides and the attractions, but actually, for our eldest, it's about Disney Springs and the shopping and the kind of dining there and the kind of, and just the magic and the excitement throughout the whole thing. So in terms of your question about the planning, we are absolutely a family of planners. We absolutely love it. And, even before a trip is planned, we're already thinking about dining options. And then once a trip is booked and planned, we'll start putting the spreadsheet together and plotting out where we're going to be when. And we, for us, that is a big part of the joy. So we'll go out for a Sunday walk as a family, and we will love comparing notes on where do you want to eat, where do you want to try this time, have you read about anywhere new, and kind of the difference with my older daughter now, she'll be kind of telling me about Disney news that she's seeing on TikTok or Instagram or wherever, and it's kind of just that buzz and and involvement. I think the truth is that me and my wife do the detail and kind of absolutely put it down, but it's very much a shared family kind of project and passion to kind of think about what we want to do. One thing that struck me on this trip actually is that we are complete planners and we love that, but it's often the sort of the spontaneous moments and the 100%. Kind of the chance moments that become the kind of the most memorable. And it struck me on this trip that I think, for me personally, everyone's different, but for me personally, I think by doing so much planning, it actually gives more opportunity for those spontaneous moments, which might sound contradictory, but because I know that we're going to the places that we want to eat and we're going to fit in the attractions that we want to go to, and we're going to go to the parks on the day that we want to go to, that just means there's a level of kind of relaxation and enjoyment about the whole thing. And because of the amount of time we have, it just allows room to kind of breathe and just have these amazing moments where you're just sitting around the pool at Stormalong Bay, which is, phenomenal. And that's a big part of the beach club for us, is just having those afternoons. We might have an early start and a morning in the park, but then we'll come back and we'll chill out and we'll all just, kind of have a read around the pool, have a swim. And those moments are amazing because you know that you've got an amazing dining reservation that evening, or you've done all the attractions that you wanted to do in the morning. And I think one particular example of that at Epcot is we'd planned an evening where we ate at the newer Japanese restaurant, which was absolutely amazing. Shikisai, I think, excuse my pronunciation, but that was absolutely incredible. And we timed
I won't pronounce it any better than you. I promise you that. So,
and actually, that was, just to touch on that briefly, that was fantastic. We absolutely loved it. The service was impeccable, and the food felt. I mean, I've not been lucky enough to go to Japan, but the food felt so authentic and different to kind of your regular Japanese restaurant. It was superb, absolutely brilliant. And again, just mind blowing to me that you've got that in a theme park, and you need to plan and you need to organize and you need to know where you're going. But if you put that little bit of care and effort in, these experiences are amazing. So we've been there one night and timed it so that we came out and had the perfect spot for the fireworks. We'd loved that, knowing that we could then just casually walk back to the beach club. Wonderful. And what that meant is that on another night when we'd chosen to sort of snack our way around the world and grab some snacks from the kind of kind of food stands that were around there. And we just had this amazing moment where we didn't really sort of didn't plan to focus on the fireworks, but my wife really wanted to try this dessert from France. My girls always love to get a funnel cake from the US. And we just sort of divided and kind of planned, you go there, you get that, you get this. I really wanted to get a particular beer that I'd read about from one of the stands that part of the evening. And we all just kind of met up and just happened to be in France just on this bench that we'd become a favorite little spot because it's so close to the beach club, and we'd have a crepe on there a couple of mornings during the trip. So it'd become a nice kind of little regular place. We all met up there, and it just happened that the fireworks were just about to start. And rather than needing to kind of rush and be on the rail and have that kind of, position where we've been standing, it was just there. And I think it was one of my favorite fireworks moments, because we were all just kind of in the moment. We'd got a snack or a beer that we were really kind of wanted to sort of savor and enjoy. We were together. Everyone again has got a magical smile on their face, and these fireworks are kind of just blowing our mind in the background. It was amazing. And I think that's only possible because we hadn't planned that moment, but because we planned other things around the trip, it allowed the space for that kind of spontaneous moment to happen.
You're bringing up so many great points, because this is going to be gold for those folks that are planning first time Walt Disney World vacations, whether it's domestic, whether they're driving down from Arkansas or from Alabama, because if you go online, and I'm a trip planner, this is what I do for a living, right? And the thing is, you have to go into Walt Disney World with well-laid plans that will lead you to success. But you don't have to plan every minute, but you do need to have a plan when you go in, because you said it so well, even better, way better than I could say it, is that when you have a plan to accomplish, 3 or 4 major things throughout the day, like if we get these 3 things done today, today's a success. We want to make sure that we want to try to get a virtual queue for Guardians. But if we don't get a virtual queue for that, maybe we can get it at 1:00. If we don't get it at 7:00. But if not, it's still not a wash. We could still do, X, Y, and Z in Epcot. We can have a great lunch here. The thing is, though, is by having a plan, it takes the mental anxiety out of the day, knowing, we have an idea of what we want to do today. We have it kind of down on, in our phone notes or whatever. We're just going to do this. We're going to be there at park opening. Park opening is so crucial for at least some of the days. You don't have to do it every day. You can sleep in some days. It's vacation. But you get so much more done if you get there at rope drop. You need to do that a couple of days, because it puts you at an advantage over 75% of the other guests. But what that'll do is later in the day, like you said, what you do is you buy like 2 to 3 times that amount of time later at the pool, because you've already gotten so much done in such a little amount of time early in the morning from like 9 to 12. You've now bought hours later that you can enjoy at the pool with your family, like I said, reading a book, or later in the evening. We've done so much already. We can just enjoy a funnel cake and just kind of leisurely make our way around World Showcase, and the spontaneity will find you. And you've said it so well, because it's never the planned moments that are the things I come home that I enjoy. It's always something that, how did I end up here? Like this activity was never on my radar. Like I didn't plan to go to this quick service restaurant. I never even thought about going to this quick service restaurant. I never thought about having this snack. Reflections of China, that wasn't going to be my favorite attraction, but it ended up being, because I met somebody, walking in, and we saw it, and we hung out and had a drink or had a snack afterwards, and the thing is, if you have a plan, that opens up those opportunities. I'm glad you said that, because that's well said. And it sounds like your girls kind of roll with that. And it's kind of like a family mantra at this point.
Exactly. And I think if anybody ever asks us for any Disney advice, it's one thing we always say is just make sure you protect a bit of time to just take it all in, because actually we love just being in the resorts and in the parks. And it's kind of, yes, we might plan that time, but actually the plan is just to relax and enjoy it. And I think you're similar from what I hear. You love being in those places and looking around and taking in the atmosphere. And I think one of the wonderful things we've realized we love about being there is you look around and you realize so many people are having the time of their lives. People are there. You're surrounded by so many people who are having the dream holiday or celebrating a special occasion, or whether it's a one-off, amazing trip, or whether they're regulars. It's just, I think that shared joy is an amazing thing, quite a contagious thing to be a part of. And if you're just constantly rushing around trying to get to the next thing and fit the next attraction in or the next dining reservation, you miss that moment to just look around and, sort of absorb what a special place you're in.
Totally agree. So real quick, give us a couple like highlights from the theme parks, like as far as attractions. What are a couple of favorite attractions, maybe, or shows or something like that your family really gets kick out of?
So it's great that we've talked for this long and we've not really mentioned any attractions yet. Which
that's the joy of Walt Disney World as a whole, like the resort. It's not just an amusement park. It's the experience. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So the funny thing is, my wife and my youngest daughter don't like thrill rides at all. They kind of just won't go anywhere near anything that's and I think it really kind of amuses some people who know kind of quite what big fans we are. They're like, hang on a second, you're spending all this time going to these theme parks, but you're not kind of, you won't go on any roller coasters or anything. I'll go on anything. My eldest will kind of pretty much go on anything with me. But our very favorite attractions as a family, I think, are Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, we absolutely love. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, we love. Toy Story Mania, we absolutely love. And I think the pattern through those attractions, for me personally, they resonate with what I imagine was kind of part of Walt's original ambition for these destinations, that they are, they're ambitious, they're innovative, they wouldn't have been possible a few years ago. They're kind of, using amazing technology, but they've also got narratives and storytelling, and they're family friendly. So I think those are the ones that we all love sharing as a family of four. They're the ones that we get excited about, and certainly, with Remy's, we'll go on that multiple times in a trip, because we're kind of, especially if we're staying at the beach club, we'll get in there and rope drop it, and then make sure we get on there another few times. So yeah, I think it's those. I'll then get my kind of time to nip off and take in a few thrill rides kind of later in the trip, and leave the girls to grab some ice creams and things, and make sure I kind of take it all in. But yeah, as a family, we love those. I mean, my wife and youngest daughter Ella, they love the classics. They still love It's a Small World, Peter Pan, Winnie the Pooh, all of that stuff. Even though Ella's now growing up, I think there's that nostalgic element. They loved them when she was tiny, and that kind of sticks around and means something, doesn't it? I think we all have that nostalgic connection, and I think it's interesting. The trip certainly changes as the family gets older, and we go in there as kind of quite a grown-up family. So I think kind of some of those moments when the kids are tiny, me and my wife, miss Enchanted Tales with Belle. We tried going on a recent trip, and our girls are just a bit like, "What's this all about?" And we remember when they were kind of.
I feel you. I totally feel you, because that was so cool when Mallory was little, and now she's 17, and it was that.
That was one of those that just like we thought you can't do this anywhere else. So that it's sad that some of those things inevitably move on, but then equally, we can do so much more as a family, right? Because we're kind of not thinking about kind of naps and pushchairs and all that sort of thing. And that, they're grown up girls pretty much now, and we can kind of start early and stay out late. And one of the things on the dining, actually, there's so much I could talk about, but I know I'm conscious of time. But
one of the things, the sun's going to come up on you. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah. One of the things I love about dining across the Disney resorts is just how you can eat so well, and it can be a really smart dining experience, and the food and drink and service can be really high end, and yet families and kids are always welcome. From our first trip when the girls were little, we discovered the boathouse on our first trip. I know that's one of your favorites, and it's one of my absolute favorites. And I love that you can go in there and we can get a great cocktail, and there can be fantastic food, and as a family, food is a massive part of our lives, and certainly a massive part of any vacation. And I love the fact that these places are all so family friendly. I think other places in the world, other cities, other holidays you could go on, and there would be places that you'd want to go, but you probably didn't feel comfortable taking kids. And it's amazing that you can live so well and have these amazing experiences, but everybody's so welcoming, inevitably, because it's Disney, right? And that's kind of what it's all about. Everyone's welcome. So yeah, that's a real key thing for us, that we can kind of eat and drink very well, but sort of really enjoy that as a family, and not feel like that needs to be a separate thing.
That's what you brought up, a lot of great points. But like with your 17-year-old daughter, like it changes from maybe back in the day. I remember, like it was Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique with Mallory, right? I mean, what seems like it was.
You're going to make me feel bad because we've never done that, Mike. I know you've done it a couple of times, but
it was like she was in that prime zone when it first came out, right?
Exactly.
I mean, it wasn't, for one, it wasn't quite as expensive back right when it started, because it was still at Disney Springs, like only, and it was in the World of Disney store. It was basically like in a back corner. It wasn't even like a big thing. Really. Okay. It was just like they had it, the World of Disney store, in a back corner, and then it kind of went to its own thing, and then COVID happened. Then it was in the Magic Kingdom in the castle. But it's funny though, because that's exactly right. Like you move through phases, and it's not better or worse, but I mean, You know, like I
That's
go
it.
down to these solo trips though, and you do see, you know, because you see the little girl, you know, I was walking through the castle just, you know, last weekend when I was there after, you know, just going to get, I was walking back to Gaston's Tavern because I was on a mission to get my cinnamon roll and my Coke Zero for breakfast. And, you know, you walk right past where they have the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique set up now back in Fantasyland. And, you know, so girl walks out with her mom and her dad, and you know, she's got the whole dress on, the sash, and the hair is all done, and the
Yeah.
blonde or whatever. And, you know, for a second, you're just like, man, that was Mallory like 5 minutes ago. You know, like she just texted me, you know, she's driving down the highway now in her own car, like going to cheerleading practice. I'm like, what happened? Like, how did that happen so fast? You know, but it's not better or worse because now, you know, it's like, it's when we go down to Walt Disney World, like I said, we don't have to worry about naps and all this stuff. Like, you know, she's her own person. Like, and you know, Paige comes or goes. She's 28 years old now. You know, if she comes, it's great. If she sometimes she can't because she's, you know, her own person. But it's what it
I think that's it. You have those
now
moments where you miss
family time.
You
get lucky to have that family time. The family time together becomes way more precious on these vacations, though. At this point, I think.
You're absolutely right, and I think that's what remains the huge appeal for us, that as a family, it's something that we all love equally, and we all have our own sort of relationship with it. We all have an amazing time together when we're there, and I mean, yeah, you just can't beat that, can you? That's kind of what means that we'll keep coming back as often as we possibly can. But it's those moments, you're absolutely right. When you look at the kind of you sort of briefly think, oh, I remember when we're kind of that age, but yeah, it's not better, or worse. It's just different, and it evolves. And I feel really fortunate that we all still love doing it and want to do it, and hopefully can keep visiting.
I agree. Okay, so closing out here in just a second, but let me ask you just a few like kind of quick fire questions. So as a family, what's your favorite nighttime spectacular? Because you did, I mean, Happily Ever After 4 nights in a row to kind of kick it off. Is that it? Or do you like Fantasmic, Luminous, or what do you got?
No, Happily Ever After by far and away. We absolutely, there's just something so special. And you know, kind of nighttime spectacular in Epcot is a wonderful place to be, and it's relaxed. And I love, you know, if you're staying at the beach club, it's amazing just to be able to walk back through there. Fantasmic, we loved, and you know, brilliant way to round off a day at the studios. But there's just something that kind of hits differently about fireworks in Magic Kingdom, and Happily Ever After especially. We absolutely loved it. I mean, we went back there on our last night of the trip, and we kind of got there early and got a really good spot, and you know, kind of waited at a time, and I was at the back, and the girls were there, and it all finished, and they turned around, and all of them just absolutely sobbing their eyes out.
I was going to ask you that.
Just like,
you just beat me to it. That was going to be my last question, but you just got me, because it's like, I mean, a trip that long and that special, man, it's hard to come to an end, right? But it sounds perfect. Oh,
yeah, it was the perfect way to round it off, and you know, they're happy tears. It's kind of
it's happy
amazing,
tears, but man, it's hard. It's hard to go home when you know that.
Oh.
But let me ask you this, because you're happy. I'm also a huge Happily Ever After fan, and I was reflecting on this because I usually don't stay out for the fireworks, because most times at Walt Disney World lately, it's usually for a race weekend, and with having to be on the bus at like 3:00 in the morning, it makes it really hard to see fireworks. So after the marathon on Sunday, I knew I wasn't going to run on Monday, so I was like, I'm staying until park closed. Magic Kingdom stayed open until 10. Fireworks were at 8. I was like, I am seeing Happily Ever After. I love the show. Because, again, it's nostalgic for me, because when Mallory was younger, every night when she took her shower, in our bathroom is right off our living room. We have a kind of a small house here, so the bathroom is just right. I mean, it's like 7 feet from the couch and where we live. In her bathroom, she has one of those Amazon Dots, you know, that she plays that plays Amazon or Apple Music on. And she would play the Happily Ever After soundtrack every time she took a shower. Like, as soon as she got in the bathroom, she'd yell out for the thing to play the Happily Ever After soundtrack, and she would sing it while she was in the shower. I mean, for like a year. And she loves that soundtrack. And so, like, I think it was like during COVID too. It was that weird time, you know, like where it was just, it just takes me back to like this special time. Anyway, I love that fireworks show. And so I got to see that after. You're emotional, right? After you're stupid enough to run 26 miles and like your body's.
Oh my goodness.
So,
what a day. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm watching it. I had FaceTime Mallory from Main Street. I'm like, look where I am. I'm in the middle of I was standing right outside the ice cream shop. I hadn't had my ice cream yet. I was going to get it right after because I was like, I was positioned. As soon as it last like Tinkerbell Bell flew, I was like right into there. But I like showed her like, look, I'm at the cat. She's like, yeah, Dad, I'm getting ready to go to a hockey game or something. I'm like, okay, well, you would have liked this, when before you're too cool for school. If you were here, you'd be liking it, but yeah, you're not. So anyway. So I'm getting ready, but the thing is, I was thinking about this. One of the best things Disney did is that and rarely does Disney do this, but I will give them credit for this. They brought back Happily Ever After. Like, they usually don't do it. Companies don't do this. I mean, not just Disney, but companies in general don't do an about face because I think so many times they're scared to admit that maybe they made a mistake. And I don't know if they made a mistake or not, but when they stopped having Happily Ever After and had that Enchantment show, which I kind of liked Enchantment. I didn't hate on it. I thought it was a decent show. But Happily Ever After, there's something about that show. It is rock solid. That show is so good. It's perfect for the Magic Kingdom. I mean, it's probably
agree.
better than Wishes, and I liked Wishes a lot. It's so good.
I don't think we've ever not loved that fireworks spectacular in the park in the Magic Kingdom. It's always a special thing, but I think Happily Ever After for us has really kind of really hits the spot. And if you'd have seen the tears strolling kind of down the faces on that last night, it's certainly hitting the spot, I think, for us.
Yeah, my daughter always gives me the hard time. She goes, because when the Go the Distance part comes on, the big the when the trumpets come on, whatever that instrument, the trombone. Dad, are you gonna cry? I'm like, shut up. I'm like, you run a marathon, you'll cry too because it hurts. I'm like, yeah, you're so mean. I'm like, if you had a soul, you'd cry too. I'm just like, you don't have a soul. That's what it is. It's a soul checker. Anyway, so what about let me ask you this about your girls. Like, if your girls could pick any restaurant to go to, not you, not your wife, but your girls, they get to pick one ADR, like sit down restaurant. Where are they picking?
Character dining would definitely play a big part for Ella, my youngest. So Cape May Cafe, breakfast with Minnie and Pels in our favorite beach club. That takes some beating, but just thinking. Whereas my eldest, we went to Summer House on the Lake at Disney Springs this time, and that whole kind of California vibe was really kind of spot on for that kind of age group, and we had an amazing time. And that's kind of one of those, we got a table out on the terrace overlooking the lake at Disney Springs, and the food again was fantastic. And I just to have that and it'd still be a part of the Disney bubble and part of the transportation to get you there and have an experience that is, again, just nothing like the parks or other resorts. It's just, it's its own thing. That was fantastic. So I think they'd be favorites. I'm definitely the character dining is still a big part of it for us. And I hope none of us grow out of that. I mean, I always have this thing that, I'm a dad, but I'm a big kid kind of, myself when I'm at the park. And I feel like I'm enjoying it on two levels. I'm enjoying it as the kind of the growing up and the dad and taking that pleasure in my kind of girls having the time of their lives. But I'm equally just having the time of my life, itself. And when Goofy comes round, I'm going to give him a big bear hug and enjoy meeting them. It's fantastic. So the character dining is still a huge part of it.
Yeah, you sent me some pictures and they're awesome. Because before the show, like I was telling you, like I was like, you have to have a YouTube channel or like an internet channel, some kind of Instagram thing, because you're hamming it up at all these pictures. But basically, like, you guys were living your best life on this vacation. You had matching shirts. You were styling because you're a girl dad, right? It's you, your wife, your two daughters, and like that's why we go to Disney destinations, though. Like, you don't go there to be straight faced. You go there to be a kid again.
100%. Yeah.
It gives you the opportunity to get inside that bubble, and everybody is there to have fun. Everybody's there to be a kid again. Nobody's judging. That's it.
The matching shirts is a funny thing, actually, because on our first trip, it wouldn't have even crossed our minds. And you get there and you look around and you think, hang on a second, we're the odd ones out here. We're the only ones without matching shirts. So kind of every trip since, that's very much a fixture in the planning to have the family.
Pretty cool.
family t-shirts. Yeah.
All right. So,
And I don't think we'd do that anywhere else. You know, it's
well,
just kind
I
of,
mean,
it's such a kind of,
I don't know. Do people walk around downtown London with matching? We don't do it around here unless it's like a Cardinals game, like the baseball team. That's or football game. That's what we do. But that's about it. So let me ask you this, because I don't want to get you. It's already tomorrow. So before we get out of here, one last memory from this trip. You want to share one thing from the audience, one awesome experience. I mean, you guys were there for a long time. Like, leave us with something good. Like, what's one lasting memory from this trip you're going to hang on to?
I've shared some of the.
You've got some good ones.
I tell you what. Coming back to, we came back one day to Bay Lake Tower, middle of the day. We'd had a great morning in the park. Just super relaxed, heading back, gonna head to the pool for some time, and we were just wandering through the lobby and looked out the doors on the way out to the pool there outside, and Chip and Dale are just wandering around, just kind of messing around with the games out there. And so we're like, hang on a second. And my youngest, they're two of her favorite characters. She absolutely loves Chip and Dale, so we're immediately just kind of straight out there. And they're playing the giant Connect Four, and they're holding the kind of Connect Four pieces up like it's kind of, Mickey ears on our heads, and kind of having a great time with the girls. And I mean, it was just such again, one of these spontaneous moments that I was talking about, where it's not about sort of planning it and queuing, and which can be great, and it's still a fantastic way of meeting the characters, don't get me wrong, but it was just something about the unexpected, and it feels like such a magical Disney way of doing things. I think that these characters just happen to be wandering through that lobby, and if you're lucky enough to be there in that moment, you have this amazing encounter. And so we all then head off back up to our room to get changed, ready for the pool, just killing ourselves laughing, just having the time of our lives. And it's just given that spark of magic to the day, that you don't get, well, I don't think you get many other places. So yeah, there's so many kind of highlights. We're lucky enough to go for a good amount of time, and I think there's multiple highlights every day, Mike. It's just incredible.
It is, I think about this often, when I'm back here in the office, and, when I'm on the treadmill, that, right now, we've done shows about this over the years. You can just say right now at Walt Disney World, somebody's stepping on a bus to go to the Magic Kingdom, and they're about to have the best day of their life. Or, somebody's sitting down. Somebody's sitting down right now at the summer house at Disney Springs, or they're getting ready to get a cookie from that. I've not had a cookie from that cookie bar that they have in there, that's the thing. I've been there so many times, but there's still a million things that I've never experienced at Walt Disney World. And that's the joy of it. There always will be new things, new doors to go through.
No, that is absolutely so true. I just on that, actually, I'm just trying to remember what it's called. It's Animal Kingdom, the animation where you can go and kind of draw along with an animator. That was something that we'd done for the first time. This was our fourth trip, and somebody had recommended it to us, and we jumped on that train and got out there. And what an experience that is, with a kind of a Disney animator and both my girls, my youngest especially, was just in her element, loves her art and loves drawing. And you will walk away with something that you kind of, I was getting into it myself again, the kind of, big kid. But I mean, you've got a Disney animator who's an amazing kind of host walking you through that. And that was something that we did for the first time on this trip, where, I feel like we spent so much time there, but you're absolutely right. You're always discovering something new.
Well, I sure appreciate you staying up late with us, man. What a great way to start the week. We've been all over Walt Disney World, but this show, I mean, has just been amazing for me, because it truly shows the essence of what a Walt Disney World vacation is. It's about the family time, but it's about also getting around and having a plan. But like you said, it's the spontaneity. It's just about being a family and just letting... I say this to my guests a lot of time at the Magic for Less, that, sometimes they get stressed about all the minutia of a Disney vacation, because there's a lot, like when you're thinking about it, you got lightning lanes, you got ADRs, you got park hour, you're thinking about, it's like juggling, like, like you're like the flame guy, the Polynesian guy that's juggling the flaming baton sometimes. That's like my metaphor that I have in my head for somebody that's going into this. It's only been like never before, or once or twice. Like it's a lot to kind of mentally try to get your head around. But the thing is with just a basic plan of what you want to go about, just let the vacation come to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, know the park hours, know what time you need to get to the Magic Kingdom, and have an idea of what, 3 or 4 things you want to get done in that park that day. And then, you know what? You're at the Magic Kingdom. That's all you need to know. Like, there's going to be cheeseburger spring rolls. There's going to be a sweet cream cheese pretzel over in Tomorrowland. There's going to be a great cinnamon roll back in Gaston's Tavern. There's going to be ice cream on Main Street. There's going to be Mickey bars everywhere. There's going to be a parade that happens on Main Street at some point. There's going to be the Dapper Dans at some point. You know, like if you catch them, great. If you miss them, it's okay. There's going to be a million other cool things. Let the vacation come to you. And I think that's really what I got out of, you know, you are such an experienced vacationer that, you know, and that sounds like what you guys did. Like you guys had a plan, you got a lot of things done, but you let the moments come to you so that you could enjoy the vacation with little stress. I mean, you guys just kind of embraced everything that came, and it kind of came your way.
100%. Yeah, I think that'd be my one bit of advice. Like you say, it is a complicated thing. I think, especially your first time, there's a lot to get your head around, but just make sure you kind of protect that time to just take it all in, enjoy the moments, and have that room to just kind of do things, spontaneously and soak it all up.
All right. Well, it's great to meet you, and we'll have to have you back on the show. I'll have to talk again because this has been a ton of fun for me. So thanks for staying up late, and I hope you have a great rest of the. Let's get through the winter here. Let's just at least get to the spring. Yeah. Let's do that. So I'll talk to you soon, Dave.
It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, Mike. Thanks very much for the chance to talk Disney. It's been brilliant to chat. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Don't forget, our show today brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney vacation. Just check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do throughout the year. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much to our Patreon supporters. You guys keep us on the air. You make this show possible. So a huge thank you to our Patreon supporters. You can support us as well. Just $5 a month. And for that support, you get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest. It's all about fun stuff here in Missouri and stories of growing up here. So check it out today over at patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Again, join us over in the clubhouse. It's our Discord server. It's a message board / live chat. Lots of fun over there. We'd love to see you this week. It's beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse. And we'll have a live call-in show this Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. Your friend and mine, Scotty G, will join me. We'll open up the phone lines, take your calls on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. So pick your place. Same everywhere. Give us a call. Let's talk Disney Sunday night. We'll be waiting for your call. All right. So for Dave over in the UK, where it's already tomorrow and it's the sun's probably coming up by now. I'm Mike here in Missouri, where it's still tonight. We're going to have a great show for you Wednesday. It's listener questions. But until we get to that show, hope you have a great week. So for Dave and Mike, let's get out of here. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.